You can't beat the classics.
All right, everyone. What's up? It's been a long time, but I'm going to explain everything that happened from the last episode till now. We got episode 9 of You Can't Beat the Classics here. George and Mike are with me, as always. What's up, guys?
What up?
All right. I'm going to explain what happened in the last episode because we're talking about three grown-ass men are really talking about a interesting movie, to say the least. So, episode 8 ended. We did 8 Mile. We spun the wheel as we usually do. Mike's still mad about 8 Mile.
I hated it, dude.
But
Super Bowl.
We spun the wheel, and it landed on 2015. So then the episode ended. So what you didn't see is the movie we picked. And so we slapped a bunch of movies on there from 2015. And the one we ended up with is the one we're going to be talking about here today. And it was demanded by, if you want to join in on the chat while we're doing these episodes, join Twitch, George's Twitch, twitch.tv/Bison Madness, BIZON Madness. And, you can sound off on any of the movies that we're doing for this one. But, yeah, so the movie we're going to be talking about today is 2015's 50 Shades of Grey.
And I also want to point out that there was a donation to put this movie on the wheel 2 times.
I forgot about that. That's right. and
Not once, but twice. They would have
Twice.
done it a third time, but we said no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't stack the wheel every week, all right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we ended up with this movie, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson, who's, I believe, is the wife of well-known actor Aaron Taylor Johnson. Which automatically for me, I'm not a huge fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson, but I was like, you know what? No guilt by association here. Let's just watch this movie. All right. Without too much detail, I guess, you guys remember the first time you saw 50 Shades of Grey?
Yep. Actually, so the wife and I started watching it on TBS because they were playing it, and we realized that the unedited version is 2 hours long, but with all the ads and everything else on TBS, it was only 1 hour and 26 minutes. So then we were like,
God.
if we're actually gonna watch this movie, we should probably just rent it or something.
Clearly I've watched this movie with partners. And I missed so much because I watched it unabated today, no distractions, and boy, do I have a review.
I remember this one screenshot George was sent today, just 50 Shades of Confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we usually do, we have to watch the trailer for this movie because we do it for every movie. But the one thing I'll say about this movie, going after seeing it literally just last week, you have to watch it with somebody. You have to watch it with a wife, a girlfriend,
I was gonna say,
husband, boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
You
Not
have to watch it with somebody.
In a room looking for a movie to watch. That's not.
No.
Hey, bro, you want to watch Any Given Sunday or 50 Shades of Grey?
Dude, I just got this killer movie.
Yeah, that's why you have to watch it with somebody, preferably that you're in a relationship with.
Oh, this breakdown's gonna be so weird.
I would watch this movie with you.
All right, so now we got to do what we usually do. Let's watch the trailer for 50 Shades of Grey. You
So
guys
this
hear
is
that?
Just an interview for the newspaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have a couple of questions.
Mr. Gray will see you now.
Mm-hmm.
What was he like?
He was polite,
Intense, smart, really intimidating. Do you have any interests outside of work?
What about you? I'd like to know more about you.
There's really not much to know about me. Look at me.
I am.
To what do you owe your success?
I exercise control in all things, Miss Steele.
It must be really boring.
I'm incapable of leaving you alone.
Then don't.
I had a rough start in life. You should steer clear of me. I don't do romance. My tastes are very singular. You wouldn't understand.
Enlighten me then.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever made that donation, you did this. Yeah, this was out Valentine's Day that year.
I remember my girl at the time wanted to go see that, and I was like, "You better go get your friends to go see that," because there's no shot.
Dude, having seen it now, could you imagine watching that in a packed theater?
No.
Dude, that theater must have been
Awkward.
awkward
Or
and
like
just.
sweaty and humid. I don't know.
Dude, that must have been a horrifying Valentine's Day.
I remember all the ladies enjoyed it. They were like,
Either a horrifying one or a very good one.
all the ladies were like, "Can't wait for the sequel." I was like, "There's more?"
Oh my god. Oh, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But all right. So this movie starts out with this. I don't even remember the girl's name.
Anastasia.
Anastasia. But yeah, she's
Miss
supposed to
Steele.
be. She goes off to interview this Mr. Gray guy because her friend was apparently sick. So this automatically it like struck a nerve with me because I was like trying not to think what we would do now versus what we would do back then because I'm like, all right, you're sick, then go on Skype and interview the guy because Zoom wasn't at the time. But I'm like, she could have done this interview. Like throughout the movie, I was like, this friend is not sick.
Well, like 2 days later, she was
fucking the brother.
Yeah.
Dude, she was like doing that, and she was like eating her friend's food. I'm like, dude, you're not sick.
Can we talk about how disgusting that sandwich was, by the way? What the fuck was that made with? Like, that was... She's pouring out, like, a mystery meat that looked like fish mixed with fucking mayonnaise and chunks of blue cheese. Like, that was the grossest sandwich.
Yeah, dude, that was like worse than a...
friend ate it.
That was worse than a Subway sandwich.
Looked like glue and manjis. But,
yeah, at first I thought she was in high school too, but I was like, no, she's in college. Okay.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, I was like,
taking a weird turn.
Yeah.
Are we prepared to talk about the casting, or is that are we too soon to talk about the casting? Because I was
No, if you want to, that's fine.
I think her name's Dakota Johnson.
Yeah,
might have been arguably the worst cast I've ever seen for that role.
I can only agree, but I think there would have been one worse.
Caitlyn Jenner?
No, yeah, but obviously for other reasons. There would have been. That's 50 Shades of Rainbow.
I mean, she was like, not only I'll give you a second to think about the name, but not only was she like, she played the timid part well, right? And you can only work with the material you got. But she's a fairly beautiful woman, and they butchered her fucking hair. They gave her like, I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning, it was so distracting. She took her pants off, and she had the longest leg hair for a sex scene in a film that I've ever seen ever.
I didn't pick that up.
It was like 2 inches thick, bro. It was like my leg hair, minus the curls.
Well, she's a virgin. She wasn't expecting this.
Bruh. Come on. How many helicopter rides have you been on that you haven't had sex after? The answer is none. So, like, it's just like, she was terrible. The entire movie, I was so distracted because I know she's better looking than that, and they purposely made her ugly. And he, on the other hand, I'd fuck him. Like, Jesus Christ. He was ripped.
Who's this dude? Jamie Dornan?
Yeah,
What's
he's
his
like
name?
Scottish or something.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. Even the butler, Taylor. Hello.
Taylor's the driver. He's my driver.
The driver. And the brother was handsome. And then you see the roommate friend is just a thick ass blonde who's built like an iPhone. And it's like, bro, did you just not want pretty women in this movie? Like, the men on point.
Well,
the women, even the mom was like, damn.
I don't think Dakota is necessarily. You know, she's fairly attractive.
She's a very beautiful woman, but they tried to make her look ugly.
Yeah. But my thing was like the lack of emotion. Like, there was almost like nothing except for just like the moans and everything else. And the only way it could have been worse is if it was Kristen Stewart.
I think they wanted. I haven't read the books.
Whitney did.
I texted someone, and I think that's what she's supposed to be. Is kind of like overwhelmed the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm letting that slide. She's supposed to be like fairly overwhelmed.
Well, I mean, like, you say that, but like the very first time she sees him in the office, she's literally just like quivering at him, and I'm just like, this is a bit weird.
On a scale of 1 to 10, though, like, isn't that supposed to be like the equivalent to meeting Steve Jobs or like Bill Gates? It's supposed to be like the equivalent to that if they were hot.
You say that, but like, all right, so she pops in, she goes into that office, and I'm like, I think the way that this office is sets up with how I feel like the movie is, like, everything in this office is like too perfect. And like,
that's the point. He strives for perfection.
Yeah, oh no, I know that, but I feel like that's what the movie, the picture the movie paints is like, you know, people's lives could be like this, like perfect, I guess, or whatnot. But I'm like, it's not like that. So
see, what I pulled away from that first meeting was a very.
And then the question she pops off with, like one of the first questions she asks him is like, "Are you gay?" I'm like, what kind of questions are these?
Third question.
It's a third question, but still, I'm like.
Yeah, but like she said that her roommate wrote that down.
That's true.
And then
she can't read. She can't read.
I know, yeah. So like she said, her roommate wrote that down, and then she did it as like a curveball, like to throw people off and make them uncomfortable.
Didn't you?
So like that's kind of, it's an interview tactic.
I got kind of a sexual assault vibe, stalker vibe after that meeting. Like, what are you doing later? Hey, you should come back. I'll do a special photo shoot for you.
Yeah.
But then
No. He went to where she was. He didn't.
We're not there yet. But
multiple times.
No. I'm saying. He was like, hey, I'm gonna be at the hotel right across from where your school is if you want to do a photo shoot. They didn't go back to where he was.
No, and I mean, we're getting ahead, but like, there's more. Like, I knew nothing about the books. I didn't read the books. I knew there was bondage. That's it. I'm watching this movie, and just from that first meeting, I'm like, this is a little you-ish from the fucking Netflix show. Like, this is weird. This isn't sexual. This isn't erotic. This is, if I did this at a work meeting, I'd be arrested.
Yep.
Like, Like,
well, dude, he swiped those questions too.
oh,
Like he swiped them out, and then he emailed them back, like answering all of them.
How smooth
Yeah.
was that, by the way?
And
That was smooth.
originally it was like you have 10 minutes, and then it was like, yeah, I'll take some more time and I'll actually fill out your question.
Cancel a meeting after. No wonder. Yeah, Jesus Christ. This dude's an asshole. The name of this movie shouldn't have been 50 Shades of Grey. It should have been Money Can Buy Personality. Because that dude had no personality. He's a fucking sex robot.
Oh my god, dude! He was this.
No woman puts up with that bullshit. No woman. Can vouch. 33 and single. Can vouch.
And
No
I will
woman
say
puts
this.
up with that
So
bullshit.
at this point in the movie, that's when she's like, "There's nothing much to know about me. I mean, look at me." And then he's like, "I am." I literally said that line at exactly the same time as him because from this point on, I was just guessing dialogue and nailing it because the movie is just so bland and so it just feels like just average. You know,
Yeah.
like there's nothing special about the writing. There's nothing special about the
Oh
actors.
god, nothing, dude. The plot of this movie was
This would have been a good
bugging-
episode to have a woman.
bugging me.
Because, like, I don't understand the get up, the hit, that, like, you seeing sex? Is that it? Because, like, this movie sucked. This movie was terrible.
Yeah.
This
Dude.
movie was fucking terrible.
Dude, if anything can prove that like Karens can sway a box office, it's the box office numbers for this movie over Valentine's Day 2015, and like all the Karens just being like, "My husband doesn't touch me anymore."
Yeah, this movie was ass cheeks.
Yeah, not great, but like it was kind of relaying to what I said before. It's like you have to watch it with somebody, and like my girlfriend that I was watching it with, thank God she was there to watch it with, and she's awesome, but like she was explaining stuff that like I questioned, so I kind of had that perspective as I was watching the movie.
Like the
From her?
female perspective, or like the bondage part, because she knows more about it than you do.
I know John knows more.
No, like her point of view, on the movie. So it helped out a little bit. Like, so I made sure that like a lot like what she was saying was involved in how I saw the movie too. One thing I saw with this movie is like this dude. At first, like if you had written this movie a little bit differently at the beginning, like this would have made an excellent horror story. Like
Yeah.
I was getting, dude, at the beginning, I was getting Dexter vibes from this guy.
I don't know how many more red flags he needed. This dude was creepy.
Yeah, I
The very
think it's
next
like
scene-
at the 15-minute mark, you're like, okay, now they have 2 roads to pick here.
I was on break number 2 at around the 15-minute mark because I couldn't stand this movie. I think the next scene after we leave the office is she goes back, she gushes to the roommate. The roommate, she's not even like doing anything weird in the apartment, right? She's just telling the roommate how it went. She's like, he was, like you saw in the trailer, he was intimidating. He was,
Yeah.
and the roommate's like, oh, you got a little something going on for him. It's like, what? Excuse me, what part of the adjectives described or the body mannerisms of this fucking bland-faced woman suggests that she was fucking wet? Like,
Yeah. I think that was
movie's
kind of like a
totally
joke
unrealistic.
line. Like personally, I think that was just like you're attracted to him, yada yada. But like, it was really weird how like it was obvious to us. Like she went in there and she was like, "Oh, I don't have a pencil." Oh. And then like all of a sudden like he hands her a pencil and then it's just like moist. It's just like I don't understand like how quickly that happened. Like she didn't know anything about him. And she was intimidated by him, but she like just couldn't stand without him.
Well, then he's like, "Oh, are you intimidated by me?" And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "You should be."
Yeah,
And I'm like, this dude's creepy.
weird. And then not to mention, next scene,
he buys a rape kit.
she's working in the hardware store, and he just shows up.
Yep.
And buys a rape kit. He bought everything but the ski mask.
Yeah, dude, that's what was creeping me out. I'm like, I know what he's buying it for, but she doesn't know what he's buying it for.
Right?
She did. She made the joke, didn't she?
Oh no, she did make the joke. That's right.
But I think she called it a murder kit, right?
Yeah, she called it a murder kit because she
Yeah.
thought she was getting Dexter vibes, and she's
Yeah,
like,
she's like, oh, you want? She's like one thing away from being a psychopath. She said, or something like that.
and then his response is not today. What?
Yeah, that was my signal where I was like, right, just tweak the writing in this a little bit, and it's.
Yeah.
Bro, I assure you, I'm in the back of a cop car if I pull that off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Walking to a hardware store and it's just like, oh, you're one thing away from me, and you're just like, not today. And then all of a sudden, like, it just gets, you know,
And
you're
then
in the back of a car.
He asks her after that, is there anything else I need? And we know that he's subtly being like, I'm gonna fuck you after I tie you up with cable ties and rope.
The confidence in this dude has is unattainable. Like nobody. I mean, I'm sure there's people like this, but like like myself included, nobody I know could talk like this.
No one
somebody.
reasonable. No one reasonable who
Yeah.
would legit have decent intentions would go up to a woman and say that.
Like, I wrote this down too. Another thing he said, he's like, I would like to bite that lip.
That's later.
I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit later, but I'm like,
The weird thing
who
is
says
she-
those words?
The weird thing though is that she, like, I'd like that. That was her response to it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But
Money can buy personality.
Yeah, the best part about that whole part too is that he's like, I'd really like to bite that lip, and then she was like, I'd like that, and he's like, not without the paperwork, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Dude, well, I think one thing we missed on is when she's wasted at that bar,
No,
and
that's
and
Matt.
she, yeah, and then she calls him up, and like she's just going off on him, and I'm like, drunk words or sober thoughts here.
Because they did the photo shoot with her family friend, right? Like that dude was supposed to be like family to her. They did the photo shoot
and he starts
with
getting
him,
cuddly.
and then they go out for coffee, and he just Christian Grey just storms out of coffee like, no, I can't. I'm not a romantic. We gotta go buy.
Yeah, I can't do
Yeah.
this.
And then he sends her like that book collection must have cost over $1,000.
Oh, all those first editions, yeah.
Yeah, so
100%.
She calls him wasted, and he shows up just as the Family Guy friend is about to make a move.
I don't know when I'll have the courage to do this again. And then, boom, he's there.
No, that dude. I don't know that dude Jose.
But that just goes to show, money buys personality. Because that dude was broke, but if he was rich, he pulls that off.
So here's the other thing, though. So this whole time, and like wherever Anastasia is, and Christian Grey is there too. There's always a guy that's like is obviously like affectionate toward Anastasia. So like in the hardware store, it was that kid that was like bagging the stuff, and then it's just the family friend Jose, right? Both of them were obviously into her, and Christian understood it immediately, but she was completely oblivious, which is also like really funny about the whole thing too. It's like she friend zoned both of them.
But the guy bought a fucking rape murder kit.
And she was like, oh man.
And then women are like, men are assholes. Like Ted Bundy's an asshole. It's like, you're seeing it play out. You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You like it. You
had to go with Ted Bundy there, huh?
It's exactly Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Like this literally was one murder away from being the Ted Bundy thing I saw with Zac Efron. Just one. Just one murder.
But dude, this whole time, like this Christian guy, I'm like, is this supposed to be normal behavior? Because I don't see it as that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so like, yeah, she drunk dials him in the club, and for some reason he like knows where she is, and then like he just shows up, and he carries her out, and he's like, you put yourself in danger. And then his brother ended up hooking up with the roommate, and then the driver takes him home, and it's like this whole weird thing. Like, she didn't say where she was, but he knew where she was, and he was in town to be near her still, which is really weird.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just like a whole weird vibe on that.
Oh, I know.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know. if that's what they were trying to go for too, then they succeeded on that.
Yeah.
I think this is what's next to is when they takes him up in the helicopter.
Yeah, they go from Portland to Seattle in the helicopter.
Yeah.
This is after you see the brothers bare ass plowing the roommate.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how I'm way more interested in that romance than the one we got the main plot for?
Yeah, but she didn't. But he didn't take her to family dinner.
Yeah, he did.
Well,
Did he actually?
no, wait, did he? Because when I saw the brother end up with the roommate, I'm like, when did this happen?
The
It was at the dance club.
family dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was at the dance club too. Like they go back and he's like, I'm gonna take her home. And then like the brother's dancing with the roommate.
He's like samesies.
Oh no, what was the line? Later's bro.
Is that what it was? I couldn't understand.
Wait. I remember that line because I remember
he says it like 6 times throughout the movie.
Later's babe.
Later's babe.
I remember that line because she was like, my girlfriend was like, never say this to me ever. I'm like, I wouldn't.
I've successfully lived through the 90s and the 2000s and I've never heard that fucking line in my life.
No.
It was 6 times during this movie, and I only know because we watched it with the subtitles on.
Nah. I thought he said layers. I was like,
no, laters.
What does that mean?
Yeah, later's. That's the only time I'll say it is on this episode. All right, so I think this is where the contract starts coming into play. I think here. Now, does she sign it ever?
No.
During the movie? No. I'm like, there's nothing. She goes over it. She never signs that thing.
She signed an NDA.
She signed the NDA.
That's what she signed. She signed an NDA, but she didn't even read it. She didn't even read what she signed there.
She signed the non-disclosure, then immediately her roommate calls and she's like telling her that she's at Christian's house and that she'll tell her everything later. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
good thing you signed that.
Good thing. But like I think the going theme throughout the whole movie is that like she's hopelessly falling for him, but she's trying to maintain her independence and freedom. And this contract is the only thing, like not signing the contract, but still getting what she wants is the only way that can be possible. So this whole movie is about her like skirting around.
She drags it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have sex 48 times during this movie.
Yep.
And like she never once signs the contract. So the whole point of it is that like she can only go into the room if she signs the contract, and she goes into the room a few times. So spoiler alert.
Yeah, I think
shit out of her one time.
But hey, when we get to that, I have something to say.
Oh my god! I was like,
but this
signed up for this.
But like they're talking about the contracts, and then this is where Gray finds out that she's a virgin, and he's like, what?
Where have you been?
And
waiting
then
for you. So bad. Apparently, this is where the hairy legs came out that I totally missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, longest leg hair I've ever seen on a naked woman.
This is the first of many scenes throughout this movie, and I really thought in my head here, I'm like, thank God I'm not watching this by myself.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's
Watching
like creep
it alone
level
was
12
weird.
if you're watching this by yourself.
Oh, definitely.
However, 14-year-old me would be like, I'm gonna go watch this.
But it wasn't sexual at all. Like for me, I watched it and I just like I don't think I ever once was like, damn, this is hot. I'm just like, man, she about to get the shit kicked out of her.
Yeah. Dude, the entire time I was thinking, I was like, the dialogue is awful. The pickup line should not have worked ever. This whole situation is just forced and unnatural. It was just awkward.
He shows her the playroom, bro. And he shows her the playroom, and for the first time you get to see all the stuff, right? Like all the shit.
Yeah.
And the first thing you see is these huge ass anal bead rods. And In my
Oh
mind,
my god.
bro, in my mind, I'm looking at these and I'm like, that kind of looks like Gandalf's staff from fucking Lord of the You shall.
That kind of looks like a perforated colon.
And then it pans to the whips, right? And I'm like, yo, Indiana Jones used one of those motherfuckers. That's a good movie. And then it pans to the flogs, and she's like touching him. He's like, "Those are flogs," and I'm like, "Bitch, you just ruined it for me in my head." I was like, "I'm getting into it now," and you just fucked me over.
Those are flogs.
Dude, throughout this movie, it's just being strung along, breaking rules, breaking. There's. I mean, the contract is there just to get the movie going.
I mean, can we also like agree that it's really weird? He knew her for like 15 seconds and offered her an internship because he's like, "What are you doing after college?" She's like, "We're gonna move to Seattle with my roommate so she can pursue her, whatever." And he's like, "We have great internships," and it's like, that's really weird.
She's like, she should have been like, "I didn't ask that."
Yeah,
You know.
But that's the weird part about it. Is like she doesn't turn him down ever because he's hot and has money.
Yep.
That's it. Dude wasn't a nice guy. Even his brother called him Mr. Warmth. Dude was not a nice guy. He wasn't very welcoming. There was nothing to like about him. He was a fucking robot, and he played it well.
Oh my god, dude! He was like stone cold.
It wasn't cool. Like I normally like the whole thing is like he's supposed to be.
He was too cool.
The guy getting sex is supposed to be cool. He wasn't cool at all. I thought he was a douchebag.
Well, not, I mean, cool. I say like just like I don't know. I'm not even like that's I'm not even using it in like a positive like cool like I'm just gonna say cold. I'm gonna say he's cold.
Yeah, he was cold.
Yeah,
but like, and then this is kind of skipping ahead, but she like you get a whole different mental space for the movie and where the characters are coming from when she goes, "You're changing me," and he's like, "No, bitch, you're changing me. Like, I'm the one making the changes. Like, I'm just showing you how much of a fucking deviant I am. And you can get on board with that, or I'm trying to meet you halfway." That's where the contract came in for me, is like, he's showing you this is what I have to offer.
It's
I
just
have
like
money, and I'm going to fuck you like a fucking wrestler would pin another.
I don't know, it's just weird to me because like from the very first time that anything happened, he's like, "I don't sleep in the same bed with anyone," and then he slept in the.
And then he did it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he was like, "And I don't do romance and I don't do dates," but then he like takes her out on dates, and then he's like, "I'll be willing to include this in the contract and all that other stuff." So it's like,
yeah.
But I think that's why that hits so hard. Is like, how often do we hear the cliche in movies like, you know, "You're changing who I am," and blah blah blah, and then it's cool to see like a woman be like, "You're changing me," and him just be like, "From the beginning, I've shown you you're changing me." Like you have no perspective on the situation. You are literally just lusting for me. But women don't see that, and that's why I would have loved to have a woman on this podcast, because I think that women go into this thinking it's a very sexy, like very empowering. It's not empowering. It's actually the opposite if you look at it from a man's perspective. This bitch was ruining his fucking life, just absolutely.
But at the same time, he was like begging for it. He was like literally buying her a car, like paying for all this stuff. Like it.
He wanted to grow. But at the same time,
he didn't want to grow though. He just wanted her. He wanted her.
He was growing.
He wasn't.
He flew to Georgia.
Oh, so he could stalk his wife because she sent him a girlfriend.
We've been over. We were in agreement. This man is not. He is the epitome of red flag.
Yeah, because so he flies across the country because she makes a joke about like, "We're done."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's on a plane and he's like interrupting their brunch.
No, what was it? It was nice knowing you. Oh. And then he just in his fucking face.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was
so
like,
hard myself.
nice knowing you.
Let me show you how nice it was. Oh.
Was this after or before the contract negotiation?
The contract, the business meeting.
The business.
I think that comes up after this.
Okay, because there were
after they break the rule the first time.
Yeah. So there was parts of that which I actually thought were well written and funny. Like that's like
Yeah, dude.
probably
I wrote down. I'm like, this business meeting is comedy.
yeah.
I
Like
wrote
that was
down.
by far the best part of the movie.
What is a butt plug?
Oh, yeah, and then the girl brings in sushi as soon as she pulls out that line. And she's like, do you see like
She's like,
5:15 where it says anal fisting? Strike that. And he's like, are you sure? And also
No,
vaginal fisting.
Vaginal fisting. He's like, "Are you sure?" And
oh yeah,
she's
she's
like,
like,
"Yeah."
absolutely not. She's like, and he's like, noted. He's like,
Stricken. I think it was funny. It was like,
a line through it.
yeah, it's funny though because it was like page 7, paragraph 6, subsection B, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is a very thorough contract.
Yeah,
For him, like,
dude, and even after that,
why can't sex be that easy?
Are you kidding me? You call that easy?
He showed everything he wanted to do,
No,
and just
motherfucker.
said, "Pick and choose out
What?
part what you
She
want,
s-
baby."
she
This dude
still
needs
said,
sign, okay?
she still said no. She's like, see ya.
I know, yeah.
She said
Like,
maybe.
well, so the funny part
And
is,
then-
she's like, I need to think about it, and then he just goes over and
Wallops her.
does her anyway.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is the third time of saying like, see you later to this between them.
I don't like I think that's the whole like really confusing part for me because it's like she wants him, she doesn't want any of the strings, but she wants him, but she can't have him without the strings. So instead
Yeah.
of his strings, she's gonna have her own strings. I think that's the most confusing part about this whole thing.
Yeah,
Like I want you and I want a relationship with you, but I don't want any of that part of you. I just want this part of you, and I'm gonna make it on my own terms.
yep.
I don't know. Just break up and be over with it.
She just wanted the new car.
There's no shot.
That's
that
what
this was a
it for
virgin.
her.
There's no shot. She was a virgin. Just none. It was this easy. There's no
Oh, I know.
shot. This dude's breaking every rule, and he's getting it.
and she still hasn't signed it, and it's been like the 4th time. And I think we're at the part where it's like one of the various like parts where she's in that room with him. I just have this long gap in between notes. I wrote that I forgot to write notes during all of that.
So they have the business meeting, and then she goes to the house for dinner.
Yeah, mom's mom's spaghetti thing. But like throughout this whole thing, like she's graduated college, she's moved from one city to another city,
Yep.
and like this isn't like over the course of a week. This is over the course of like months. And not to mention, like they do all the teasing, like they text back and forth about the contract like a whole bunch of times. And it's like different days and everything else, and he gets her a laptop so she can actually like research.
Yeah, let's talk
what
about
he
how
wants.
invested he was in this girl. He spent $30,000 on a car. He spent $2,000 on a computer. He spent how much
Yep.
on a helicopter
books.
ride?
On books, yeah.
He spent this dude is almost $100,000 into this woman.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
At what point is this prostitution?
Prostitution. This is buying love. This movie should have been
Yeah.
retitled "How to Buy Love in 30 Days." Like, she was terrible, bro. This whole
How to
the whole
lose a
premise,
rapist in 7 days.
what will forever be beyond me is we're about 3/4 of the way through the movie now, right? Like they're at the dinner part. We're about 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah.
The movie.
And then she gets him mad
Yes,
because
but,
he's reaching into her crotch and she hits his hand.
But can we talk about like at what point is this movie seductive for women? Like I haven't seen it
literally
yet.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Sex toy.
He's been kind of a fucking rapist. He's using her for sex, sort of, and like.
I mean, she keeps showing up, but
But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't.
But like her
understand.
roommate was also like right before all that. She was like, do it at your own speed. Like she started realizing that she's like, oh, I have to go over and see Christian, and like the schedule as what was going to be outlined in the contract started coming to fruition, and like he asked how things went, the doctor went, because he made her go see a doctor. and start a contraceptive and all this other stuff, like really, really controlling and personal things that now he's starting to like leech into.
This movie sucks. I don't understand how the book is so big. I don't understand the phenomenon behind it. If you remember, Twilight and Hunger Games were right before this, and there were books and then movies, and women were the driving force behind it.
And they're better.
Much better. I'd much rather watch Twilight than any 50 Shades of Grey bullshit ever. I don't understand, but I could understand the love pattern in Twilight. I could understand the struggle in Hunger Games. I don't get. We're 3/4 of the way through this movie. I had to take 5 breaks watching it myself at this point. I don't get what drove the phenomenon here.
So
this movie sucked.
The crazy thing about it is like, you can say it all you want that it's like a woman, like an empowering woman movie, but it's really not, because she does all of the things, and then at the end she's just like, no, I'm not going to sign your contract, but I'm still going to have sex with you. So like, they're like, oh, she's strong because she's keeping her freedom. No, because she already went down the line and went and saw the doctor and started the contraceptive, and she took the car, and she's staying in the room, and she went up to the glider, and there's like all these things that she's just willingly doing that kind of go beyond the point where she's being strong. She's literally just taking advantage of whatever is put in front of her manipulatively.
Yeah, she's stringing this dude along. She's in for the ride, but so she's seeing how far she can bring this guy along with him.
Yeah.
Along with her.
And to go back to, I think right at the club part in the very beginning, like the very first time it slipped when he was like, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit for a week. Do you remember that line?
Something crazy.
I was so
I
weirded out by that. I was like,
yeah.
She goes, what? And he's like, nothing. And it's like, no.
You said if I were yours?
That's the part you're hung about. How am I not going to be able to sit for a week would have been my fear. Like, what?
Well, that was in the stricken out from the contract, anal fisting. Yeah.
Well, dude, I'd be more concerned when... Okay, so they went over the contract. You saw what was hanging on the walls, right? Like, those are meant... A lot of those are meant to go inside of you. Like... And he goes, before they did the contract meeting, he goes, you wouldn't be able to sit for a week. Bitch? Why?
Yeah,
I don't know about any of you, but I don't go to Disney World and be like, oh man, I can't wait to not sit for a week because Donald Duck just fucked me in the ass. Like, I don't want that at all.
Right.
I'll never get over the size of those anal beads. I'm not gonna ever get over that. Dude, it was a staff, and at the end was 4 gigantic beads. There's no shot. No shot, dude.
Yeah,
what do you even use that for? Like,
in case like you're trying to do the 6-foot social distancing and you
this movie was ahead of its time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god,
dude, I keep thinking about the contract here, and I'm like, you see them do things that go with the contract, they're going off breaking the contract, but I'm like, I gotta remember, I'm like, they're not breaking the contract because there is no scene where she signs that paper.
Yeah.
She makes it clear towards the end, like, I haven't signed the contract, and he's like, oh, I'm well aware, and it's like, maybe you should stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you shouldn't have a contract? I don't know.
Well, then you learn about, apparently this dude had a rough childhood. So I'm like, do you think that's an excuse for this kind of mindset? So I'm like,
he had a rough childhood, but at the dinner, and I guess we're going to keep progressing here. At the dinner, he gets mad because, he's trying to, like, I don't know if he's trying to finger blast her at the dinner table or something, but he's got his hand, like, going in her crotch on her dress, and she's just like, get the fuck out of here. No.
Yeah.
Like a normal human being, because your mother is 2 feet away. So, like, he gets mad. They end up going for a walk and, like, discussing it, and then he talks about how his mom died when he was 4, and like how he was someone his
He
mother's
had a
friend's
he had a
sub.
Dom for like 6 years or something like that.
He was his mother's friend's sub at the age of 15. Like he was fucking his mother's friend until he was 21. So he kind of had a fucked up childhood. He did kind of have a fucked up childhood. So I would tend to lean towards this is how he thinks love is supposed to be, or at least affection.
No, I think he explained that too, because he said that when he was a submissive, he didn't have to think, and all of his decisions were made for him. So it made him it made him more comfortable knowing that he didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, which is
so that was the
sexual
submissive
assault.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and he was just like, and trust me, you'll like it too. And she was like, I don't think I will.
I mean, he was right about everything else, though. He's like, you're gonna love A, B, C, and D, and dude, she kept coming back for more. She wanted the whole fucking appetizer.
Oh my god, dude, this movie is just
Terrible.
should have been called Becoming a Masochist.
Like, if you put an average Joe in that situation, he's a rapist.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
obviously.
Yeah.
He's a rapist.
Oh yeah, then you see he's a freak. Yeah, he's like.
Yeah. That's why the NDA made sense for me. The NDA made sense and the contract made sense, because if anyone went out and said like, hey, Christian Grey has me tied up and is just like ramming shit in me and I don't agree to it,
He won't be the CEO much longer of his company.
So like the contract made sense to me, the NDA made sense to me. What didn't make sense is that he kept fucking her without the contract, and he wasn't just fucking her. He had a bad business call and ended up taking all of it out on her in the playroom or whatever.
She asked for it.
She said, "How can I help?" And,
No.
But you're right. But you're right.
No.
She did that.
He
you're
was
talking about
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and then she was like, "Well, do your worst to me so I can understand."
Yeah.
So then he does,
and he
then she
beats
gets
the
pissed
ever
off
living shit out of her, and
6 whips with a belt.
Bro,
Yeah, not great. Not great.
It wasn't a belt. That was the flog.
No, he took his belt off.
I don't think that was a belt.
That was a flog, bro.
No, it was a belt. Roll it back, baby. It was 100% a belt. Roll it back.
We're about to find out. All right, it's. If I put 50 Shades flog.
No, it's 50 Shades 6.
No, I got it. Punish me.
Oh, George already has it.
Yeah. Chat, don't judge me. We're muting this actually because I don't ever want to hear the sound of this. Punish me, blah 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 blah. She asked for it. She asked for it. Oh, and it doesn't show it.
Oh yeah, I figured that would not be on YouTube.
Not even him taking the belt off the shelf.
I swore it wasn't a belt.
It was a belt. I thought.
Are you watching my stream? Because it stops right when they're about to enter the red room.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Red room. That's so you.
I mean, a belt. Obviously, a belt would hurt, but I think that was just like she was messed up from that, and I think it was more than a belt.
It was a belt for sure, 100%.
Oh, you know what? When you search it on Google, you do see 50 Shades of Grey, and then I typed in belt, and it was like belt scene. Like it auto-populated. Maybe that is what happened.
He took a belt, like a rolled up belt off of a shelf.
Oh, this is interesting. During this scene, Dakota Johnston used a body double for kinkiest 50 Shades scene.
Oh, so she wasn't even there.
This scene, it's not her. She had a very specific demand when it came to being spanked with a belt.
Boom.
Okay.
That was a big fucking belt, man. That wasn't.
Oh my god, dude! That was like a size 40 waist belt.
Yeah,
That's a big belt.
And then he went as hard as he would go if he was gonna punish her as hard as he would. So like she asked for it, he delivered. She didn't
Yeah.
like it because it made her upset, and she's like, "This is what you want me to be like," and he was just like, "Yeah."
That's interesting though that this actress like Dakota, she said no to this scene, but I'm like,
This is
she
like
just
the scene. It's the pivotal scene.
yeah, and like she just wasn't into the pain of a belt across her rear. This I'm quoting from this article here, but
I mean,
all right, I guess I'm like, but she didn't mind the rest of it.
I guess I wouldn't mind that.
Well, the rest of it was like what, that little slappy leather thing, and he was like, "Does that hurt?" And she was like, "No."
A switch?
Well, no, it was.
That was meant for horses.
Did you see the switches that were on the rack in that room too?
Bro, I saw everything.
I was like, what point of that? Like, what part of that is freaking?
He gets laid by having miscellaneous medieval war objects. I have a Thor hammer and an Iron Man mask, and I'm like, hey, you maybe want to have sex?
You want to have sex on my toys?
Meanwhile, he's treating this woman like she's a fucking horse.
Yeah.
He beat
Oh
the
my
shit out of
God.
her, though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whether or not she asked for it, she got tuned up like a fucking violin, bro. And, like, I don't know if she had the right after that to storm off like she did at the end. I don't think she did. I don't think she had the right to be pissed. I don't think she had the right to be upset. She asked for it. He told her, hey, I'm pissed. I'm in a bad mood, and I'm going to fuck you up. And she said, yes, daddy, give it to me. And he gave it to her. So he fucking lit her up. And
yeah, you did. You strung yourself along the entire ride. Like this is what's gonna happen.
And the fucked up part too is he's like, listen, it's going to hurt. You're not going to enjoy 15 minutes of your life. This is not sensual. This is me releasing stress. And she's just like,
do your worst.
Punish me.
Yeah, dude. And then after the fact, she's
Help
like,
me understand.
She's like, you're an asshole. After he told you this.
Typical being a man, by the way. Like, oh, hey, tell me everything. Okay, here you go. Dick. It's like, oh, well. I mean, showing up to your work, buying a rape kit wasn't bad.
Yeah. And then she had like
kidnapping you wasn't bad.
So she also had this real big problem with like the mom's friend who he was submissive to, that they were still friends, and that he had a dinner with her. And she had a real big problem with that. That happened while she was in Georgia with her mom.
Yeah, I don't know if I mind that though. That's fucked up. That's an ex.
Yeah, okay, so like that's fucked up and that's an ex, but like they have a really different relationship than typical people have with their exes, right? So I'm not blaming her for not liking the situation, but like you could just like go that way and never come back.
Well, the thing
like there's
is,
so many flags here that she's just like, oh, I'll put up with it.
Yeah, yep.
Their contract was terminated. And you're seeing that he's very much into this contract, and like you're seeing that he's very meticulous in how he performs. I don't understand the fury, but I get it. Like, you know they're not hooking up. You know there's nothing there because there's no contract. He told you that they moved on years ago. She didn't have a right to be upset, but I understand why she was upset.
Yeah. Like, I get that too, but like, so he had 15 other girls that were submissives at some point, or was it 15? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah. I think it was 15.
So like, and the only one that she had a problem with is the one that started when he was 15 years old.
I would. That's fucked up. Like the whole situation is just and I get why it's called 50 Shades of Grey. There's no shade of gray. That was sexual assault. That's rape. Okay, it was rape. He was raped. Like there's no shade. There isn't one single shade of gray other than the fact that he was trying to finger blast his girlfriend at the dinner table in front of his mother. That's the only shade of gray. Because sometimes when you want it, you want it, and I get that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it was all shades of fucking black. You kidnapped a woman. You stalked a woman. You beat the shit out of a woman. You were raped.
You made unwanted sexual advances on a woman.
He did that.
The only shade of gray is that the woman at the end liked it all. And, like, that's not a shade of gray. That is a broken fucking woman. That woman is broken. Just as bad as he is. There's no romance here. It's two broken, mentally stressed individuals who just... By the way, the experience of fucking this man must take hours. Because it felt like these sex scenes were drawn out, man.
They went on for so long.
And he had pants on while she was butt-ass naked. Like, he had jeans on while she was butt-ass naked.
Yeah.
And it's like, homie, I don't know how you get down. Sweatpants are bust for me. Like,
dude, my favorite part about all of this stuff, and I said it to Whitney too. So he's like, be in the pleasure room in 15 minutes. And he's like, you have to be on your knees with your palms flat on your thighs, blah blah blah. But he would like walk in, and then she'd be like there kneeling, and he would just like walk away into like a separate section of the room, and then just come back whenever he felt like it. I'm like what the fuck is this? Like, what is going on here?
Meanwhile, I can't play fucking video games without hearing, hey,
yeah,
pay attention to me. And this bitch is just kneeling in the corner looking at the wall. This movie was fucking stupid. I think we've reached the end of the movie. Well, we can talk about the end, if you'd like. Take it away.
Yeah. One thing I'll say quickly is this: I find it interesting that like you see like the focus and the confidence this guy yet has like throughout the movie, but yet he still has this part of him that's like really fucked up and that like he can't get past. And like I think it's interesting how it like doesn't deter him from like getting what he wants. Like, he doesn't want you to bring it up, but like he kept going after Anastasia, like, and like he would not stop.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I just thought it was weird how like he still had that bad past, but he was able to like put that aside.
Fuck this.
I mean, the movie, the writing was bland. Everything didn't seem natural. Everything was forced. I don't understand why women see this movie as a positive for women. Like, it seems like very much like the woman got every bad end of this whole thing, and the only thing she did throughout the whole movie that could have been empowering was after she did all the shit that wasn't, she decided to walk away.
Mm.
It was too late at that point.
Yeah, like she's already gone down.
It's like when you...
she went down.
Yeah, it's like nailing Jesus Christ to the cross, and then halfway through he's like, man, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Then
like,
she went down. She went right down that elevator for that ending, dude. Well, I'm like, that's the ending.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I texted you guys when I saw the ending, because apparently I've never seen the end.
So, you had to watch it 3 times.
I did. I've watched it. For anyone watching, I've watched this movie multiple times, but with women, and apparently I've never paid attention long enough to understand it and where it was going, and I watched it by myself today. And when I got to the end, I didn't think she was done. I think, and I haven't seen the next movie or whatever, but I bet you she opens the elevator door. I bet you she opens it.
Maybe
in the next movie.
Yeah,
because
dude, I was like,
she's like, Christian.
The sequel confidence of this movie.
I thought you watched the second movie.
Oh, we're gonna make more. I mean, because I think they have the books, because they have more books. But
Mike, maybe I have. I don't fucking know anymore. Aren't there like 4 sequels?
No, there's like
it's
Shades Darker and 50 Shades of Grey.
If you go on Peacock, it's like 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. I'm like, yeah.
I bet you she opens the.
Wait, it's on
door.
Peacock? Why the fuck did I pay for it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's on Peacock.
I paid $3 or $1.99 for it on Amazon.
Yeah, I paid $2.99 on Amazon. Oh. But I watched the super unrated movie, which was like 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Mike watched the X-rated version.
I even said to Whitney afterwards, I was like, I know we've watched this before, but I just think I saw so much more nudity than I saw the first time. It's unreal.
Like, I'm not into the movie. I would never willingly ever watch this again. I have no intentions to watching the sequel. Nope. But I will say the end was the most dog shit. And if they hadn't pre-greenlit a second one, dog shit ending. Worse than, I know John likes this movie, but worse than Dune for me. Like, at least Dune Dune, I know the second half is gonna be badass. This, I never want to see this again. I would rather if the sequel was about the brother, I would probably watch it because the brother looked like it was a good time.
So when Whitney and I were watching it, because like I didn't remember much of this movie, and Whitney didn't either, because we saw it like pretty much right when it came out. But like at the end, when like the elevator door closes, and she was like, "That's it." I was
Yep.
like, okay, that's
Yep.
that is like my reaction to the ending of this movie too.
Same, Mrs.
Yeah.
Miller. Same.
All right. So now we've come down to the end of this movie here. So all right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being awesome, or 1 being absolutely terrible, what would you give 50 Shades of Grey?
At 33, I give it a 1.5. At 17, I give it a 6.
Wow, George.
I was gonna say I'd give it a 2, and the only reason why it's not a 1 is because of the business meeting scene. That's the only part of this movie that I legitimately belly laughed at, and I thought,
What is a butt plug?
Yeah, what is a butt plug? and
Now
like,
trending.
Yeah. No, dude, seriously. Hashtag what is a butt plug?
I'm gonna give it a 5. Like, dude, this movie made me laugh, but it was this was not great. This was not.
I think what tarnishes it a bit for me is like I'm going in knowing that this was a big phenomenon, and knowing that like think about it. It at the time, 2015, right, is when it came out. 50 Shades of Grey was a big deal. It was.
Yep.
Like the books were a big deal. The movies were a big deal.
There was movie theaters near me that would not screen this movie.
It was a big deal. And for the hype it got when it came out, and for the residual, like it's hanging around. Like, how many other movies can you name from that year off the top of your head? You'd have to Google it, right? Like, even MCU movies, you'd have to Google 2015. So it's like, okay, this was a big movie. Terrible. From a man's perspective, at least. Maybe from a woman's perspective, you give it a little higher. I think this is arguably one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I had to sit through Almost Heroes. I think Almost Heroes at least had some comedy in it.
That was my fault.
Yeah.
And I needed to review Chris Farley's last movie. Okay.
Listen, I had no problem with Almost Heroes. I was on board to watch it, and then I watched it, and then I was no longer on board.
That was like one of those things. Like, it was so much better when we were young and we had no idea what a plot was.
50 Shades might have been arguably the worst movie I've ever watched to try and like get some feedback for. Arguably the worst. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was. I'm just happy I didn't see Man Dick. I'm just happy.
You kind of did though. You saw Man Bush.
Saw Man Bush.
Yeah, you did see that in there.
It was enjoyable to see how billionaires groom.
They don't. Natural.
Isn't that a wonderful conversation? Would you, if you had to be naked in a movie that you know your mother is gonna see, would you grow that thing out so that she'll never see it, or do you groom it so that the women that do see it don't think you're a slob?
Yeah, put a little bow tie at the top of it there.
Oh my god.
Dude, and you know what? Hats off to Dakota Johnson for doing that movie, because she did it and she walked the line with. I don't know if you remember, but I watched her on Ellen. I watched her on Jimmy Fallon. The constant question about her tits and being naked all the time. She took it all like a champ. She had a breakdown at some point. She broke down and was like, "Fuck all you hoes."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
She did 3 movies of this. Good for her.
Yeah, and I've watched like a bunch of talk shows, because like in searching the movie and all that stuff, like I started like YouTube recommendations and all that stuff. So I started watching like the cast interviews and all that stuff, and they all have like a pretty great, like sense of humor about it. But I think that's the only way you can take this thing, because it's so painfully awkward, and I think they're just like, it's a cash cow. That is, as soon as it's gone, no one's gonna care about it anymore. But it's a cash cow for right now.
People still make the 50 Shades jokes, though.
Oh yeah, but like that's all they are now. They're jokes. They're nothing.
The movie was terrible. Like, even Twilight. Like, dude, I would much rather. I don't know if you guys have seen Twilight.
Sparkly vampires.
I think Twilight was actually a very underrated movie. All of them. I think they were all very underrated, and they're actually much better than chick flicks. Second one's a bit tough to get through, but they're all really good, and I would much rather watch any one of the three than any 50 Shades. Hashtag Battinson.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of the next film, so we got this. We gave the people what we wanted here. We got this out of our system.
Yeah, have.
So yeah. So now the time is. Thanks for joining us for episode 9 of You Can't Beat the Classics. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Before we leave and exit, I did post a poll in chat, and I asked, what year, if you would like to see a year added, would you like to see us do next? And 2007 was 67% of the vote. So if we could add that to the year, unless you already have the movie.
No, I haven't spun the wheel. Yet. I'm about to now.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, I got it up here.
We'll keep that for next time then. 2007 will be added to the wheel.
Unless you want to go by what they voted for. I mean, we can just do that.
I don't care. We're gonna do plenty more of these. We can add 2007 into the next one if you already have it teed up. No. Okay. Hold on. Chat has one more question.
No.
What do they got?
How much do I have to dono to get all 50 Shades reviewed?
Nope.
That's a heavy number in my mind.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's
Christian Gray's salary. That's the number.
Yeah. You know what?
I don't want
we honestly don't do more than one film in a saga. So
unless it's Taken.
I don't think
we rode that Taken train all the way to Sucksville.
We did that just for the content, but I don't think we usually we did Judgment Day. If we do, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, I think we talked about just picking one of the sagas and doing that. So we typically don't do this. So you can donate, and if the other guys don't want to do it, I will do it for my own personal page, and it just may not make You Can Beat the Classics because this is a painful ask that you're giving the boys. So that is my response to your question. Go ahead, John. John, can you share your screen? This is my favorite part of the episode.
Spinning the wheel.
Also, is this the one we're going to plan on doing next Saturday?
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
Okay.
Let's see if it's a good one. So I got the wheel lined up here. So I've got the last 30 years. I got
2007 is in there.
Yeah, 2007 will be in here. So we got 1991 to 2021 here. So now we're gonna see. So then, we're gonna spin this, and we're gonna see what year we're working with here.
I get my enjoyment off music.
1999.
Excellent year.
All right. So the next episode, it could be. We're about to skim through the movies from 1999 right now, so that'll be the next episode of You Can't Beat the Classics. Thanks for watching. Thank God we finally did this.
It took a month, but it was worth it.
Hey, some good 1999 movies, by the way.
All right, stay tuned, guys.
Peace.